So let's talk about our personal and our cultural landscape. We have the prevalent advice that we're taught from the moment we are able to sit up. That is the following. If you want success and if you want freedom, you need to work more, you need to be more productive, and you need to have more discipline. Then on top of that, the culture also kind of gives us another curveball, which is a subtle but prevalent message of in order to have value, we must achieve. So think about what we just talked about with the brain. So the brain's telling you there's not enough, I'm not enough. Culture is echoing that. So what happens if we get stuck in both what the brain is saying and what culture is saying? We have a lack of intrinsic self worth. We tend to try to overachieve our way out of that lack of feeling that we have value. We can tend to be a little bit perfectionistic. We can struggle with burnout. We can stay in scarcity and survival mode. We can be kind of disembodied from our own selves. And we can separate ourselves again from our intuition, our creativity, and our wisdom. And so, if we don't trust ourselves, we have this belief that the answers and the hows are all out there. And I want to impress upon you today that the answers are absolutely within you. And I'm not saying don't seek out mentoring and reading and experiences and so forth, but I want to show you a really handy trick because I'm going to teach you how to become a whole brain pioneer where you approach things from an adventurous spirit, from a place of energy and possibility, and how you can actually lean into this and call upon it anytime you want. So, we all know basic brain science that we have two hemispheres. And I know that this research that I'm pointing to, which is Sperry's research, he was really convinced that the left and the right hemisphere had very distinct purposes and activities that happened within each. The newer research is showing that it's not quite as neat and tidy as what Sperry thought. But I want to, for purposes of today, pretend that Sperry is right because I want to prove a point about how we can lean into certain parts of our thinking and behaving. So, for most of us, we are great at the sort of left hemisphere tasks, linear work, analytical, working in sequences. But this kind of influence from the left hemisphere also separates us, has a sort of feeling of separateness from others. It puts me into what I call my clipboard Susie mode, which is my trains run on time and I have excellent precision and detailed work, but it doesn't allow the space for creativity. This is a place of a lot of efforting, controlling, white knuckling, and a sense that we have lots of duty above and beyond maybe what is actually true. Over on the right side, we have holistic thinking, creativity, play. We have a sense that we're connected with ourselves and with others. This is Pioneer Susie over here. There's adventure, surrender, allowing, imagination, ideation, and intuition. So we're going from survival to creation, narrow focus, to an open focus. So, because we're so great at this, this is our life in school here, right? And this is what tends to follow us into our professional work. Some of us who play around with making things, creating things, music, art, etc., spend time over here. But a lot of us are over here the vast majority of the time. So I'm going to show you some easy ways to put yourself over in this world and create kind of a practice around it that doesn't take up heaps of your time, nor does it require lots of fancy resources. I'm going to now take you into how we start to break out of this sort of prison, for a lack of a better way of saying it, of being in burnout mode. So there is a gentleman who wrote a book, which is one of my favorites, Paulo Coelho, who wrote The Alchemist. And he's written tons of other books as well. But what I love about what he has said about inspiration is that it really sets us free. So what he believes, so here's our person, and here we are. He says that we can breathe in. So when we inspire ourselves, we can breathe in beauty, art, nature, being with people we love, doing what brings us alive. So literally breathing in, inspiring yourself. And then what comes out, what we expire, is our creativity. But here's what happens to us. Most of us are excellent at this. We just give and give and give and give. But we're not stopping to do these things. If you create a very simple way to make sure that you're literally breathing in what brings you alive and doing those things, then you're going to have key things for a pioneer: willingness and a sense of possibility. The other thing is energy. And if you look at this and you think about what it feels like to be burned out and overwhelmed and exhausted, this is the polar opposite of that. We cannot begin to change how we act until we have some kind of energy to do that. It takes energy to make a change. But we often think, well, I'll just whip myself forward and gut it out and try to do the new thing. And that doesn't work because we haven't replenished ourselves first. So before we start to do anything that requires this sort of more courageous version of ourselves, we have to be kind to ourselves first and give ourselves rest. Put ourselves in the woods or on the shore or near the lake. Take a walk. Go to the museum. Hang out with people you love and your friends and colleagues. And bring yourself to this place where you fill the well back up with this sense of possibility and purpose. If we want to inspire other people who are within our organization or those who we're trying to inspire, who are potential funders or potential volunteers, we have to inspire ourselves first. We can't do it from an empty bucket.